What happens when the usual go-to solutions, stretching, strengthening, and biomechanics aren't working, leaving your patient in pain? I've been there. When I started as a physio, I was convinced that the answer lay solely in the realm of muscles and bones. I mean, isn't that what all the anatomy and physiology and biomechanical textbooks told us? But as I delved deeper, I discovered that pain is a sly and complex adversary. Apparently, patients are more than flesh and bones. When it comes to tackling physical issues like post-fracture recovery, ligament sprains, or that dreaded frozen shoulder, the traditional mechanical, pathological, and anatomical model is a great place to start. However, this approach only scratches the surface when things get complicated, and let's face it, most patients are complicated. Physical, emotional, and social factors contribute to the pain and disability. No, it's true. That's where the mental models and system thinking come into play, offering a more comprehensive approach to understanding the intricate balance between these factors. Think of mental models as a framework that helps us keep making sense of complex phenomena. They're like shortcuts in our brain that help us solve puzzles more efficiently. For instance, when it comes to back pain, your mental model will dictate what you think the problem might be and what treatments you can come up with. It's fascinating to consider how different healthcare professionals, like an orthopedic surgeon or a physio or a chiropractor, might vary their mental model of that very same back pain patient. My own approach to physio, diagnosis, and treatment is a simplified mental model that allows me to quickly assess and effectively treat patients. But what about when we take it a step further and apply systems thinking to physiotherapy? Systems thinking means looking at the patient's problem, like back pain, as part of a bigger interconnected picture. This may sound obvious to some of you, but it wasn't always obvious to everyone. Instead of just focusing on the spine or muscles, you have to consider factors like stress, posture, and job demands. They all influence and contribute to the patient's disability. It's about understanding the relationship and feedback loops from one thing affecting another. For example, how can stress exacerbate the pain and how can pain exacerbate the stress? By taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, you can create a more effective and comprehensive treatment plan that addresses your patient as a whole person, not just a bunch of little parts. This approach makes you more insightful and impactful as a physiotherapist to tackle more complicated and puzzling patients with ease. By combining the Mechano-Patho-Anatomical model with the biopsychosocial model, you'll get a clearer understanding of not just the what and where of the pain, but the why and how too. It's like upgrading from an old black and white TV to the latest 8K 75-inch flat screen. Suddenly everything becomes clearer. And your treatments will look better and last longer, and that's what this video is about. You might be thinking, ain't nobody got time for that. Don't worry, I've got you covered. I'll share some simple, actionable tricks and phrases you can use right away. Let's dive in and explore how to bring this simple, practical approach to life in your practice. Section 1, the Mechano-Patho-Anatomical model. It's a good start, but not the whole story. Let's take a closer look at the Mechanical-Pathological-Anatomical model. This model has been around for a long time. British doctor Owen Thomas pioneered the application of mechanical principles to injury and rehabilitation, developing innovative splints and treatments that laid the groundwork for modern orthopedics. James Cyriax built on Thomas's work by developing a systematic approach to diagnose and treat musculoskeletal disorders, emphasizing the importance of a precise diagnosis, using manual therapy, and using exercise. Early physiotherapists and World War I reconstruction aides employed simple mechanical tools to help soldiers recover from war injuries. I remember learning about pulleys and springs in a metal wire cage and powder boards when I was at school, but that was a while ago. These early therapists leveraged the principles of mechanical therapy to restore mobility and function to wounded soldiers. The foundations of our modern physiotherapy education are deeply rooted in this Mechano-Patho-Anatomical model, thanks in part to seminal texts like Muscle Testing and Function, Orthopedic Physical Assessment. These influential works show how physiotherapy education is based on the mechanical, pathological anatomical model, and this teaches physios how to assess and treat patients by focusing on mechanical stresses, pathological problems, and basic anatomy. This mental model forms the backbone of how most physiotherapists think. This Mechano-Patho-Anatomical model is the powerful tool for pinpointing structural issues like tennis elbow or rotator cuff tear or plantar fasciitis or trochanteric bursitis. But this model has a blind spot. It focuses solely on the body's hardware, overlooking the software that makes us tick. Crucial factors like stress and fear are not taken into consideration. Take conditions like chronic back pain or overuse injuries like tennis elbow. These diagnoses often have a significant non-mechanical baggage that contribute to their development and persistence. Relying solely on mechanical fixes is like slapping a band-aid on a leaky roof or putting a pineapple on pizza. It just won't cut it. If you're finding that some of your patients aren't getting better despite your best efforts, don't assume it's because you're not a good therapist. The truth is, the mechanical-patho-anatomical model has its limitations. To truly help your patients, you need to adopt a more comprehensive approach. This is the biopsychosocial model. By broadening your perspective, you'll become a more effective physiotherapist capable of tackling even the toughest cases. That's what I mentioned earlier as systems thinking. Section 2. Your PT patients aren't robots. Think beyond biomechanics, embrace the biopsychosocial side. Imagine a time when the mind-body connection was a radical idea, like something out of a sci-fi movie. Back in the old days, innovators dared to explore this mind-body connection, like Jean-Martin Charcot, the father of modern neurology, or Sigmund Freud, who had a thing for cigars that might have symbolized something deeper. They laid the foundation for psychosomatic medicine. Fast forward to the 1930s and the 40s, when Helen Flanders Dunbar, the mother of psychosomatic medicine, took center stage. Her groundbreaking work highlighted the crucial role of psychological factors in physical illness. At the time, this was radical stuff. It was like a light bulb moment when suddenly healthcare professionals realized that it was acceptable to see the mind and body as being connected. As psychosomatic medicine gained momentum in the 1950s and 60s, researchers like Franz Alexander made significant contributions. They delved into the psychological aspects of various diseases, including hypertension and asthma. Psychological and social factors were showing up all over medicine. In the 1970s and the 80s, it saw a rise of influential thinkers who further transformed the field. George Engel and John Romano revolutionized our understanding of health and illness with the biopsychosocial model. This game-changing approach seamlessly integrates the biological, the psychological, and social factors, empowering healthcare professionals to consider the whole person, not just the symptoms. I think of the popular authors Bessel van der Kolk and John Sarno here. So what does this mean for physio in the clinic? Australian physiotherapist Peter O'Sullivan is the face of modern biopsychosocial physiotherapy. He advocates cognitive functional therapy and musculoskeletal clinical translation framework. This shows us that chronic pain like low back pain isn't just about tissue damage. It also influences factors like fear and stress and environmental pressures. Pain can lead to changes in movement and behavior. The pain itself, the fear, the anxiety, and emotions, oh my, these aren't the biomechanical faults I used to look for. This doesn't mean that physios have to become psychologists, but it does empower us to use tools like exposure therapy to help our patients who are immobilized by fear. So how can busy physios like you gain insights into this non-mechanical elements of your patients? Here are a few practical takeaways. Ask open-ended questions to uncover the potential psychological factors such as fear avoidance behaviors or catastrophic thinking. Use screening tools like the START back screening tool or the pain catastrophizing scale. And let's be real, you can't do it alone. You have to know when to refer your patient to someone else for additional support. By incorporating these strategies into your practice, you'll be better equipped to treat the whole person, and isn't that why we're here? Section 3, how to integrate the mechanical patho-anatomical model and the biopsychosocial models for better patient care. Now that we've explored the mechanical patho-anatomical model and the biopsychosocial models, let's talk about how to combine them for better results. Think of it like cooking a hearty stew. The mechanical patho-anatomical model provides the base ingredients, but adding the biopsychosocial elements is like sprinkling in the secret spices that make it truly satisfying. Consider a patient with knee pain. The mechanical patho-anatomical model helps you identify the physical culprits, like a wonky cartilage or weak quads, but the biopsychosocial model asks the million-dollar questions. Is the patient afraid to move because of previous experiences? Do they work long hours on their feet, making recovery more challenging? By addressing these factors, fixing the knee, calming fear, and adjusting their schedule, you can achieve better outcomes. So how can you start incorporating this approach into your practice? Here's what works for me. When a patient walks in, don't just focus on the physical assessment. Ask open-ended questions like, what activities are you avoiding because of your pain? How does this pain affect your daily life? How do you take care of yourself on tough days? What's the most frustrating part of living with this? Explain the concept of pain in a way that's easy to grasp. Use metaphors like comparing pain to a fire alarm that sometimes goes off even when there's no fire. This helps build trust and sets the stage for practical solutions, like I mentioned exposure therapy before. Work with your patients to set small, achievable goals. Don't overwhelm them with a ginormous, comprehensive rehab plan. Instead, start with tiny steps like taking some pain avoidance strategies or pain-free exercises with the joints above and below the injury, or get outside for a walk without pushing yourself. Celebrate these small wins. It's like leveling up in a video game. You might think that incorporating these steps is too much time, but trust me, it doesn't take only a few minutes, and the payoff is worth it. I've seen patients going from being hopeless to moving again just because we address the whole picture. It's a game changer, and it's worth giving it a shot. So what's the takeaway here? It's simple. Don't just fix the body, fix the whole person. By combining your mechanical expertise with a deeper understanding of the biopsychosocial factors at play, you'll see happier patients and fewer headaches for yourself. As the Beatles so aptly put it, all you need is love and a dash of science. The ancient Taoist philosophy reminds us that balance is key. It's about finding harmony between the opposites in yin and yang. In physiotherapy, this means striking a balance between focusing on the physical impairments and understanding our patient's emotional and social needs. Carl Jung would call this integrating the opposites, acknowledging the intricate dance between the different aspects of our patients' lives. By recognizing this complexity, we can provide a more comprehensive care. As Roberto Azaglioni so elegantly put it, it's about integrating the patient's subpersonalities into their diverse thoughts and feelings and experiences to promote psychological integration. Every patient is a unique individual, and every visit is an opportunity to make a profound impact. That's why I'm sharing these videos. As Aristotle wisely put it, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. This means that our patient's overall well-being and function can't be fully understood by just treating individual body parts or symptoms. Instead, considering the complex interplay between the physical, emotional, and social factors leads to a more effective care. And that's the big takeaway here. So, did this resonate with you? Did you learn something new? I hope so. And when you see your next patient, remember that to see all of them, weird, wonderful, and complex biological marvels that they are. So go out there and be awesome, make a difference. My 2 books are now available at Amazon. What They Don't Teach You About Documentation in Physiotherapy School, a short how-to manual for successful daily note templates, and From Injury to Recovery Through Exercise, simple functional exercise progressions for physiotherapists to restore lifting, standing, walking. Thank you for your support. You're going to love this video, and let the subscribe button be your portal to more adventures. Thank you.